Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's continuing education. So, awesome job on the people who answered last week's, commented on last week's video. Some really good stuff in there. Um, Something to chew on, okay, for future conversation. Um, I think one of the things that we take for granted is, well, there's two things, in fact. One is that the people who come to us have pre-selected themselves. And that's true for the vast majority of us, right? If you work in a gym or you have an online business, people come to you because something you said or put out there resonated, and they've come to you because they've selected and they think that you can help them. In that case, most of the answers that we've been putting out there, I think, are absolutely acceptable and will work. However, I think that there's a more interesting question on how do you get people to make changes and to trust you and to actually get better who haven't self-selected. So, Pablo, what are we talking about? Could be a kid whose parent has brought them in. Could be somebody whose doctor has told them to come to you or to get to somebody, and they only came to you because of the way you look or because of you just happen to be the person that was in front of them in the moment they made the decision. But there are people who are not necessarily self-selected, who haven't decided to take that first step, who can use help. And I think it's pretty inarguable that those are the majority of people. So if we can figure out a way to get to them, not only do you have an incredibly bigger pool of people to choose from, but you're much more effective. So I think we get to that in a different time. We'll bring that up another time. But just something to chew on. So what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about who you are as a coach. I am a fairly strong believer that in order for a coach to be really effective, they have had to go through something. Now, I'm not saying that it is a prerequisite. I just think it's a strong tool to have. I think empathy is an incredibly powerful tool, and it's very difficult to have empathy if you don't have a reference point. So what am I talking about in terms of being through something or having gone through something? This could be having won championships and been the best in a particular endeavor if you're a skills coach. Or this could be having gone through something personal, a struggle, a serious episode that really put you through the ringer and you came out better for it. Now, it's also important that I don't think that the extremes of these things are good. So to give the most direct answer, take it from the championship side point, being the best at something. The Michael Jordans, the Maradonas of the world, the Pelés of the world, don't make particularly good coaches. Right? They were genetically gifted to an extent that put them above even other genetically gifted people. They don't tend to be very good coaches. Right? In Michael Jordan's case, he has said he has no desire to coach. And in Maradona's, he's arguably one of the worst professional soccer coaches in the history of professional soccer. So I think there's something to be said about that. The very extremes of these things aren't necessarily good. On the other side, in terms of being through something, having gone through something, if the thing you've been through, lost hundreds of pounds, been through a traumatic experience, if they're the defining trait of who you are, that is also not a good thing. Because then you become relatively dogmatic about what worked for you. There's exceptions to this. I'm talking about the majority. So I think the sweet spot is having gone through something or accomplished something significant, but that isn't the thing that defines you as a person. It is just something that has maybe helped shape who you are. Not maybe. Has shaped who you are. But that's not like the badge you wear on your chest. So I'm going to share mine. And what I hope you guys do is share yours and then talk about how that helps you as a coach. So I'll make this quick. Mine. In high school, I was very much the athlete student, not the student athlete. Not to say I wasn't a good student. I was an A-B student at a very good school, a very difficult school to get good grades at. But if you asked me who I was in my head, I was a soccer player, athlete who got good grades. Senior year of my high school career, in soccer particularly, I completely blow out my knee. ACL total rupture, partial tears of my MCL and my PCL, meniscal damage, the whole nine. I'm put through a total loop, right? This fundamentally changes. It takes away my identity. I break my ass to get back in shape, to make a run at playing potentially at the next level. Um, Almost a year to the day. Give yourself a week or two. And literal days before my ability to actually play. So, I was trying out and then getting on the team. I blow out my other knee. ACL, MCL, PCL, the same exact injury on the other knee. And I did it playing with the guys on the team, playing a pickup basketball game as a way of blowing off steam from all the work we were doing. This puts me in a hardcore depression. I did every stupid thing you can think of freshman year of college. I got a 0.8, right? A 0.8. You have to try to get a 0.8. I mean, name it. I was drinking like a fish, anything I can get my hands on. I mean, it was bad. And I was doing it completely as a way of filling this God-shaped hole that I now had in my chest. So one day I wake up from a stupor. It's probably at 12, 11 o'clock in the middle of the day. And for those of you who are too young to remember, VHSs, right? When you watch TV on tape back in the day, when they were done, they would have that snow. TV's got snow. I'm in a fold-out chair that has an ottoman, and my arm is buried in a giant barrel of cheese puffs. I get out. I'm in nothing but my underwear. There's bottles everywhere. It's not good. I look in the full-length mirror in the dorm, and I can't stand this guy. Orange arm, out of shape. This isn't who I am. So I do something that my grandfather taught me to do when I was very young. And basically one of the major two things he taught me was how to play soccer and how to box. And to do those two things well was to work out. So I get back in the gym, and I'm getting back in shape. And to make a long story short, I get offered an opportunity to work at the gym at the school. That becomes an opportunity to run the boxing program, the MMA program there. Well, sorry, first the boxing program. I go back to a place that I used to train at to get some in boxing shape, get back into shape. And it's an MMA gym. Well, I'm built better for MMA. MMA practice becomes sparring, becomes fights, becomes a way to make money. And then, sure enough, I'm now, full-time in the gym on the mat in school. My grades go up, and in a very literal way, it pieces me back together. It's not an exaggeration to say the mat in the gym saved my life, because it was a place where I felt connected to other humans. It was a place where I didn't feel alone. So how do I use it as a coach? Well, on a direct sense, in the obvious scenarios, if the person is going through a similar crisis, I can just pull from my direct experience. But it's the not so obvious ones. It's the 13-year-old girl who has an eating issue. I'm not saying she's full-blown bulimic or anorexic, but food's a thing, right? Body image is a thing. The 19-year-old kid who's never been physical day in his life and wants to start. The 40-year-old mom who wants to feel attractive again and young again and be able to really take ownership of her body. The 60-year-old guy who, for the first time in his life, has decided that he's not going to be the fat guy anymore. I don't know what any of that feels like directly, but I do know what it feels like to not feel worthy. I do know what it feels like to feel invisible. I do know what it feels like to just want to be numb because the pain is too strong. I know that. So if I had to describe what kind of coach I am, I don't like thinking of myself as the coach on the pillar who is coaching, down here. I'm up here, and I've done this. You need to listen. It's the opposite. I think of myself as a fellow traveler. I'm next to you. I'm in the muck with you. I'm simply the guy leading because I've been down the road before, not because I'm some kind of sage who knows everything. I'm very comfortable with the client saying, I don't know, but I'm going to go find out. I'm going to go learn. I heard a quote recently that I really like. It's, if you can't look on the bright side, don't worry, because I will sit in the darkness with you. That's what I like to think of myself as a coach. I want to get things done. I want to help you. And if that means I got to sit in your nightmares with you, then okay. I know what it feels like to sit in nightmares. Let's go do that. So what I'm asking from you guys is share what you think is something that you have gone through that is, solid and really shaped you as a person. And tell me how it affects your coaching, and tell me what kind of coach you are. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Bye.